All right. Sorry, you don't know it, but this is take two. I got caught up and I screwed up, and so I decided to start over because I think I would have just confused you more. Anyway, this is just a quick video. I want to walk through the tables, questions on the exam. I think it ended up being questions 20 to 25, I think. At any rate, I'm going to walk you through those questions and hopefully it'll help you get a clearer picture of tables. If after you watch this, you still have questions, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to meet with you and answer your questions, walk you through it individually or in a small group and whatever it takes, okay, to get you ready for the exam. But we're going to start here, okay? So here is my brief little PowerPoint, right? And it's really a lot like the note, like the one that you saw, um, the notes and everything in the lecture. But I hope this helps clarify some questions. Anyway, this was the question, right? Use the information below to create a frequency distribution / table that has a scoring interval of 3 and includes frequency, cumulative frequency, percentage, and cumulative percentage. Use that distribution to answer the next 5 questions, and we'll get to the questions later. All right. But here it is. Suppose there's 42 scores on a psychology quiz were as follows. So 42 students took a quiz, and these are their scores, right? And we'll worry about this later. Okay. So I have to set up my table, right? So this is where I start. And I'm going to stop for a second. Sorry, I had to get some water. I'm sorry. I wasn't going to make it. All right. So this is how I start. And this is the recommendation. You have to get your scores laid out in order, horizontally, vertically, doesn't matter whatever you prefer, but you have to lay out your scores in order from lowest to highest is my recommendation. Right. So I go back here. It's me. I got a piece of pen and paper, pencil and paper, man, and I'm here. And the first thing I'm looking for, are there any scores from 0 to 9? And I go through this list and it's like, no. The lowest score here is a 10. So that's where I'm going to start, right? And that's what I did, 10, right? And then I'm looking and I go through the list and I look for everything. For me, I break it down into tens. So I look for everything from 10 to 19. So I got my 10 and I'm looking through here and I see, oh, there's a 13. Oh, but there's an 11. So 11 would be next, right? And so I write down my 11 and then I mark this off. Whenever I find one and I'm putting it in my order table over here, what I do is I scratch it out here, right? So I got 10 and then 11, and now I'm looking and there's no 12, but I did see a 13. So I'm going to go back and write down 13, and I'm going to cross it off over here. And that's the tedious work. And that's what I do, right? When I'm doing these exams and prepping these questions, this is what I'm doing to come up with my solutions. I mean, it's just the way that's where the work is. And it's tedious, but you really need to do it. So I go through the 10 to 19, then I start looking for the 20 to 29, the 30 to 39. And I keep going until I find out I hit the highest score, which in this case, it just happens to be on the end is 48. But that's just a coincidence, right? So, but at any rate, you see, I went through here and I put all my scores in order. Okay. Now, the next thing I do is I count all these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, so on, to make sure I have 42. This is my first checkpoint. I make sure my list has 42 and it has the same scores, right? The same number of scores as the question states. And in this case, I've counted them already, and I'm not going to count them for you, and it's correct. Okay. But that's my first checkpoint, and it should be yours too. Then I lay out my table, right? And so it said you needed to have the frequency, the cumulative frequency, the percentage, and the cumulative percentage, right? So the first thing you always start with is the score and the scoring interval. All right, so set a scoring interval of 3. So you go, right? I said here 10, 11, 12, 3, 3, right? 13, 14, 15, 3. And I did this all the way up from 10 to my highest score of 48. I ended up with 13 intervals. Now, I need to know how many people scored in the 10 to 12 interview. So I go up here to my orderly list and I go, oh, 10, 11, that's it, 2. How many people scored in the 13 to 15 interval? 13, that's it, 1. 16 to 18, 16, 17, 2, and so on. And I look for every interval, 22 to 24. Oh, there's nobody. 34 to 36, I can see 34. Nope, 35 and 36, 2, right? And so on. And I list all the number of scores, right? Now, I want to get the cumulative frequency, okay? And I start at the bottom and I do some simple addition. 2 plus 1 is 3, right? Plus 2 in the next interval is 5. Plus 2 in the next interval is 7. Plus none in the next interval is still 7. Plus 5 is 12, and so on. And I just crosswalk through this until I get up to the end. And when I get here, this number should equal the number of scores I started with in the beginning. That's your, this is your next checkpoint. If this doesn't add up, like in this case, if this didn't add up to 42, I made a mistake somewhere. And I got to start backtracking and find my mistake until I can get this and until this is right and it adds up to that 42. Okay. Now, I need to start with the percentages, right? So how do I find the percentages? Well, we divide, right? We talked about this, we divide. So if I want to know what percentage 2 people is, I divide the 2 by the total number of scores, which is 2 divided by 42, which is 4.76%. Remember, if you go back here, be sure to keep all percentages with 2 decimal points, i.e. 6.67. All right. So that's what I did. 2 divided by 42 is 4.76. 1 divided by 42, 2.38. 2 again, 2 again, 0. 5 divided by 42 is 11.90, and so on. 8 divided by 42, right? So I get all these individual interval percentages, right? So I know 11 people, and we're going to get through this, okay? Now, I'm going to go back and look for and complete my table by filling in the cumulative percentages, which I'm going to do exactly the same way I did here. I'm going to start here, right? And I'm going to crosswalk and add the 4.76 plus 2.38%. These are all percentages. I just didn't put the sign there again, right? 4.76 plus 2.38 is 7.14, plus 4.76 is 11.90, plus 4.76, 16.66 plus 0, 16, etc. And I crosswalk this all the way to the top, right? Up across, up, across, up, across. Keep adding until I get here. Once I get here, this should be close to 100%. And mine, right, is 99.96. That's very close to 100%. And so, sorry, my dog. So if you're off by 1%, I really, we call it a plus or minus 1, maybe plus or minus 1.5, right? So if I'm at 99%, I'm good. If I'm at 98.8%, I'm probably good. If I'm at 95%, 96%, no, something's wrong. Same thing above. If I'm at 100.9%, I'm good, right? That's that plus or minus 1. So instead of exactly 100%, we're like between 99% and 101%. You're probably pretty safe. But if this is anything outside of that little gray area, then something's wrong, because this should total 100%. The only reason it doesn't is because of the rounding on your calculator and the rounding at the addition and stuff. So don't worry about it, but it should be in that little gray area, okay? If not, again, this is my other checkpoint. If it's not, I need to backtrack and find out where my mistake is, because this has all the answers to the questions, right? Now we'll actually get to the questions. This was all the setup work, right? This is all the tedious work to get to be able to answer the questions. So, how many students scored in the 24 to 20, 22 to 24 interval? I go back here, I find my 22 to 24 interval, I go across to the frequency column, and none. No students scored in the 22 to 24 interval, right? And so the answer is 0. And I had already put it in here because, like I said, this is take 2, and I screwed up right around here. All right. So what percentage of students scored in the 13 to 15 interval? I go back to my table. I go to the 13 to 15 interval. It's 1 student. That equals 2.38% of the students. And so I go back here, and that's what 2.38% of the students scored in that 13 to 15 interval. I'm hoping this is helping. Now, how many students scored in the 25 to 27 interval or below? And this is the key, or below. So what that means is the 27 to the 25 to 27 interval, right? Or below. So all of this. So where is the best place to find that answer? The cumulative frequencies. How many people scored here and below? Well, this many, the 12, right? Because I added this up and got 12. So in this interval or below, 12 people scored, 12 students scored. I go back here. The answer is 12. Okay. Now, what percentage of students scored in the 31 to 33 interval, again, or below, right? Or below. So the key again is to use the cumulative column. So for 31 to 33, I go all the way over here to the end to the cumulative percentages, and it turns out 54.74% of the students scored in this interval or below. All right. Sorry. All right. Hoping this is helping. So I go back here. What did I say? 54.74. 0.74% is the answer. Okay. And finally, what is the percentile rank? So there's really only one question here for everything you need to know. I could give you more examples. I can give you more questions. If you want to meet or if you want me to just send you some more questions to work on, however you would like to do it, I'm more than happy to do it. Okay. Just reach out to me though, please. If you're still having problems, reach out to me. So, what is the percentile rank for a student with a score of 38? And talked about percentile rank during the lecture, right? And it's equal to the cumulative percentage, right? So, what is the percentile rank for a student with a score of 38? Well, we don't have a 38 necessarily. We do have a score of 38, and it ends up to be in this 37 to 39 interval, right? And so we walk right across from there, and the cumulative percentage is 78.54, which is equivalent to the percentile rank. The cumulative percentage is equivalent to the percentile rank. So the answer is 78.54%. Okay. Now, I want you to, right, remember, even though it says 38, we're in the interval. So just look for the interval where 38 would be and march across. All right. So I hope this helps. If you still want some help, I am happy to meet with you. I have some pretty flexibility. So what you need to do is send me an email with some times, like 2 or 3 different times you would be able to meet. I mean, I'm not totally sitting here waiting to meet with you, but if you send me 2 or 3 times, I will be able to figure something out and work something out, and I will then send you an invitation to a Zoom meeting at one of those times. If you would like me to just send you some more questions, I can do that, right? Or we can just go over some more questions on the thing. Whatever it takes. I just wanted you to be prepared for the exam. I want you to do better than the exam than you did on the worksheet, right? That's the goal at this week, is to get in there and work out any things you need clarification on. So once again, please watch. I hope you watch the video and you will reach out to me and we'll get you on track. Okay? So good luck. And like I said, please reach out.